additional 9,277 households. The project scope encompasses the construction of new low-voltage single-phase distribution lines, installation of service cables, and provision of electricity meters to households situated in proximity to existing transformers. The table that follows depicts a summary of the allocations to the county. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Honorable Mwenda Gataya, any supplementary questions?
Honorable Speaker, I think I'm comfortable with that comprehensive answer given by Honorable Waziri, but I've received concern from a resident in the Raga constituency. That resident would want to know the current percentage of electricity connectivity, especially in the Raga constituency, and the timelines to achieving 100% connectivity by the year 2030. That's a concern from a resident in the Raga constituency in particular. But I'm comfortable with the comprehensive answer that the Wazir has just given. Thank you.
Senator Manzo.
Yes, sir. On the issue of power outage, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify how long averagely it takes to replace power outage, especially now where Moidibingu meets University Way? All those buildings and commercial enterprises have had a power outage since yesterday, and up to now, nothing has been replaced. So how long do you take to replace power outage, especially or blackout? Like an example of today and yesterday is where Moidibingu meets University Way. All those businesses have been without power since yesterday. Is there power rationing in the country currently? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will make reference to question number one by question number A by the Honorable Senator for the Rakaneti about power outages, Mr. Speaker. And although the Senator asked about power outages around Chuka University, but Mr. Speaker, this is a problem that we are having around the country. And the CS has actually gone to details and explained about connectivity and, assured of quality and reliable power supply. But my question to the Honorable CS is, exactly what is your ministry doing to see to it that we have stable power supply? And I ask this because no less a person than the President has actually admitted that there is power shedding, meaning that we do not produce enough power for our country. Have you ever considered nuclear energy so that we may have constant power supply in the country? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Nairobi City County, Honorable Edward Sifuna.
Mr. Speaker, immediately I heard the President speaking about this load shedding. I knew that the target was that moratorium that had been put on IPPs. It has not taken more than 3 weeks, and I've heard that the CS confirmed here that the moratorium has been lifted. This House, through the Energy Committee, conducted an inquiry into the cost of electricity. A report was produced, and it was actually adopted by this House, Honorable CS, Honorable Speaker. One of the things that we found is that there is a lot of opaqueness in the award of these power purchase agreements to these IPPs. There was a lot of shadiness in the ownership of the IPPs. The report of this House is there. So the question that I want to put to the CS, now that this moratorium has been lifted, what measures have been put in place to ensure that the problems uncovered by this House, including, Honorable Speaker, that opaqueness, the onerous terms, including payments to these IPPs denominated in dollar currency, lack of transparency, and even measures put in place to give priority, Honorable Speaker, to IPPs who've been waiting for these power purchase agreements, like the one solar plant in Nyeri that we saw. Somebody had been waiting 13 years for the power purchase agreement. What measures have been put in place to make sure there will be no corruption this time around, that there will be no onerous terms that have been put on those IPPs for Kenyans to enjoy low power costs? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator for Meru County, Senator Kathuri Murungi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I want also to take this opportunity to welcome my brother, CS for Energy in this House. Honorable Speaker, I served with him for 10 years in the National Assembly. So when I see him here, I'm very proud that we are really also progressing to other tasks in this country. And I hope also in the near future will also be in another level, maybe since we are progressing positively, not negatively. So, Mr. Speaker, Meru County, Mr. Speaker, the connectivity in Meru is very low, especially in some constituencies. And I saw also the PS in one of the constituencies. Igembe North has 19.2% of households that are connected. Similarly, Tigania East, 19.4%, Tigania West, 24%, Igembe Central, 22.3%. I'm aware that there is a money set aside for Meru connectivity, electricity connectivity at 2.4 billion. But going with these statistics, Honorable CS, I don't think we can do much in that county because the figures, as I've read, you can see we have a challenge. So what is the ministry doing to make sure that these constituencies with low connectivity at least match up to 50% of the households to be connected by 2027? Maybe is there an elaborate plan that the ministry has at least to lift these constituencies with low connectivity, at least to match those with 50% and 70%. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator for Nandi County, the Honorable Samson Charanke.
Mr. Speaker, on this part outage or power blackout, I've seen the CS has conveniently left out a very important issue. My concern is on the replacement, especially when there is a power blackout or outage in a region, especially in Nandi, we have a number of faulty transformers. So my question is, if there is no load shedding or power rationing, how long does it take to replace most of the faulty transformers? And I know it might not have been the CS then, but can you shed light? Because, Speaker, the reason we have power outage mostly is because when the transformers are faulty or they are damaged. So how long does it take to replace one transformer, Mr. Speaker? And is there ways to establish the needs or the support within that power line of transformer so that we can put this matter to rest? I thank you, Speaker.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to ask the CS, what is the national average connectivity for the country, and how does Tharaka-Nithi compare to Murang'a, Nyeri, Meru, Kiambu, so that we can have a fair comparison of the west and the east of the mountain in terms of connectivity, Honorable Speaker?
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond. Before you respond, Honorable CS, Senator Boni, you had a supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we don't understand why when this rationing is there, Western Kenya tends to be the biggest casualty. What is the reason? You are well placed to tell us because fortunately for us, you also come from Western Kenya. And by that I mean Western Province, the former Nyanza Province, and parts of Rift Valley, Uasin Gishu, and Nandi. What is the reason?
Honorable CS, you have 5 minutes to respond to those supplementary questions. You may proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Let me just answer these questions in the order they came, but some will be answered jointly. For instance, the matter of connectivity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as a country, we are committed to attaining universal electricity access by the year 2030, Honorable Speaker. That is a commitment that the government has made and is working progressively towards attaining. Honorable Speaker, As we speak, the national connectivity, average national connectivity is about 76%. The national access rate. And of course, it goes without saying that different parts of the country are at different levels, Honorable Speaker. I may need to go back and come up with comprehensive data covering every part of the country, Honorable Speaker. Suffice it to say, Honorable Speaker, that in Tharaka Nithi County, for instance, Mara and Chuka Igamba constituencies are fairly ahead of Tharaka constituency. Yes, but I can share the specific figures with the House, Honorable Speaker, if you allow me, at an opportune moment. What is critical is that we are working progressively towards attaining universal access by the year 2030, Honorable Speaker. As a matter of fact, Kenya is also a party to the Africa Mission 300, which is a serious endeavor being spearheaded by the World Bank and Africa Development Bank to bring on board some additional 300 million people to access electricity. Okay? Honorable Speaker, the second issue, of course, about Muinimbingu University, it is an isolated case, and of course, the relevant entity is seized of the matter. Yes, it is regrettable that it has taken long, but we are hopeful that by the time we are leaving this place, power will be back. Yes, I've been assured, Honorable Speaker. Again, Honorable Speaker, the issue of stable, reliable power supply, I have spoken to it at length. And I've said that we have a number of initiatives that we have embarked on, including the nuclear energy power that Senator Nyutu talked about. For the first time, this country is looking at a clear case of establishing a nuclear power plant. And we are more than determined that by the year 2027, 2028, we should be doing some groundbreaking, Honorable Speaker. And that nuclear power plant, Honorable Speaker, is going initially to produce some 5,000 megawatts, which is significant, Honorable Speaker, of course, in different phases. The first one, of course, being in Siaya County, as has been proclaimed by His Excellency the President. Honorable Speaker, the matter of PPAs has been spoken to, again, at length, by various houses, committees of this House and the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, we are learning from past experiences and therefore making improvements to the process of coming up with the PPAs. Honorable Speaker, if one takes time to read the report of the Committee on Energy of the National Assembly that has ultimately lifted the moratorium, Honorable Speaker, you will see a raft of recommendations in that committee report. Amongst which are one, for the first time now, these PPAs will only come into force upon approval by the Attorney General, something that was never the case before. That enhances transparency, Honorable Speaker, to a very, very large extent. Again, for the first time, Honorable Speaker, from the recommendation of that committee's report, these PPAs will be pegged on both Kenya shillings and dollars for the first time. Previously, of course, they were basically and exclusively dollar denominated. Honorable Speaker, it's also important to point out that in developing these PPAs, we are guided by the East Coast Power Development Plan, which is our blueprint. It's our guidebook in terms of determining how much power we need to generate when and where, Honorable Speaker. Meru County, of course, just like the other counties surrounding it, we are making progress in terms of driving accessibility to electricity, Honorable Speaker. And we have allocated some 2.3 billion shillings, Honorable Speaker, which we are currently implementing to connect some 27,500 or so households additionally to electricity. Again, the matter of faulty transformers in Nandi County is not isolated. We are working closely through our Kenya Power entity to ensure that these replacements, when they are due, they are done. But more important, Honourable Speaker, we continue to have very robust engagement with political leaders, especially members of parliament, from time to time. Since they are the people's representatives, we get to understand what is the feelings of the people on the ground. Through them, no week passes without us having an engagement with one group or the other of members of parliament and other leaders, including governors, and MCAs indeed, Honourable Speaker. The matter of Western Kenya, Honourable Speaker, again, we are alive to it, and we have put in place very, very deliberate measures to address the issue of power and liability in Western Kenya, just as we do for the rest of the country. A number of transmission lines are currently under implementation, and a number of improvements, including upgrading of substations. I can count very many of them, Honourable Speaker, if at that time. But I could share with you and the House more comprehensive information and data concerning these improvements, these projects that we are implementing to ensure that Western Kenya, just like any other part of the country, is serviced adequately and appropriately and consistently by Kenya Power and our other relevant agencies. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable CS. Now, Honourable Senators, we will terminate our interaction with the CS at that. Honourable CS, you may leave at your own pleasure. We will now move to question number 043 by the Senator for Nairobi City County, which is directed to the CS in charge of lands. Clerk, can you usher in the CS in charge of lands, please? Now, Honourable Senators, as the CS is being ushered in the chamber, you will notice that she has 4 questions to respond to. It is now 11:20. Now I'm going to allocate 20 minutes per question, meaning we will interact with the CS for 1 hour and 20 minutes. That is inclusive of the CS responding and also honourable senators asking supplementary questions. Now, honourable CS, welcome once again to the Senate. Now, you're before the Senate for purposes of responding to 4 questions. Now, we have limited time to do that. I will therefore be asking you to paraphrase your responses now that we have already circulated your written responses to all honourable senators. Now, the first question that you'll be called upon to respond to is question number 043 by the Senator for Nairobi City County, the Honourable Edwin Sifuna. Honourable Sifuna, you may now proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It is good to see the CS for lands. As you're aware, we have very many pending questions for her ministry. So this is question number 43. Could the Cabinet Secretary disclose the current holders of the title deeds for the parcels of land registered as number 1 LR number 18282 in Kasarani constituency, which comprises 1,000 plots allocated to squatters in 1989 through a government squatter resettlement scheme, LR number 209/4844/124 (619/33) in Makadara constituency, which was designated for use by the Mbotela Charcoal Dealers Self-Help Group, and lastly, LR number 78/811 in Makadara constituency, which was designated for the Buruburu Phase 5 community playground. B, what is the ministry doing to safeguard the rights of the legitimate owners of these parcels of land and to address reported cases of fraudulent claims and encroachment in respect of the said parcels? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. Honorable CS, you can answer that first question. Question number 043.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Directed by the former chair. Maybe you didn't need to read this document verbatim. It's a big volume. So maybe you can paraphrase and go to exact points where you think the member for Nairobi will be able to understand. And also you can help PMB to know whether maybe he is satisfied or not, then also it is important, since he also has familiarized himself with the response. Proceed, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I think the volume is because of attachments that are quite a number. The first question by the Honorable Senator for Nairobi, Edwin Sifuna, my response, Honorable Chair, to save time, I will not repeat the question, is that I would like to state as follows: LR number 18282, measuring 7.1668 hectares, originally formed part of LR number 11344, measuring 2277 hectares. It was registered in the name of City Council of Nairobi. In 1992, the City Council of Nairobi leased that number, that land parcel 18282 to Messrs. Broadway Limited. That was in 1992. The land was leased for a term of 9 years, with effect from 1st of April 1992 at an annual rent of 88,000. And we put the lease document as an annexure to this response. Honorable Speaker, the lease document between the City Council of Nairobi and Broadway was registered at the Land Titles Registry at Nairobi on 30th August 1993. On the same day, 30th August 1993, there is a challenge there. The property was charged in 1993, Honorable Chair, to Kenya Commercial Bank Limited for a sum of 10 million, and we put the charge document showing the status in terms of that borrowing by the Broadway Limited. On 26th of September 2024, the State Department for Lands and Physical Planning received a letter from the Director Assets Recovery Agency stating that the agency was conducting investigations into suspected case of money laundering in respect to, I believe, of the company that is the registered owner of this parcel, one on the properties in question, and the parcel number was therefore put under caution or restriction under Section 76. Honorable Chair, we have put in the letter in respect of that request by the Assets Director for Assets Recovery, and therefore the property is still registered, however, in the name of Broadway, because the question in terms of asset recovery was about investigations into money laundering aspects by the company. I want to state that that is the current status of that parcel, and we have not yet lifted the restriction, and because no request has come, I believe the investigations in terms of, in respect of money laundering are still going on. That is the respect. I believe that was the last question in that respect. I don't know whether the Makadara one, I'll wait for, yeah. Honorable Speaker, I think there is number 2, which is land number 209/4844/124, Makandara constituency, which was designated for use by Botera charcoal dealers. And that is the response. My response, Honorable Chair, to that question in this respect of this question, Honorable Chair, we have a survey plan. The acreage is 0.2926, that is page 2 of my response, the last paragraph. The land is measuring 0.2926 hectares, and it is depicted on survey plan number FR 310/52. A copy of the survey plan has been attached for that, as part of the exhibits in this particular matter. Honorable Chair, this parcel came about as a result of subdivision of RR number 209/4844, measuring 17 hectares, or 17 hectares, or 40.9 acres, which land was registered in the name of the City Council of Nairobi. In other words, this is a subdivision of that parcel. The land was registered at the Land Titles Registry as number IR 15371, and we've attached a copy of that. City Council of Nairobi cost 209/4844 to be subdivided into 75 portions, which portions were then leased out or given out to various entities and people. Honorable Chair, that parcel now was leased by the specific one, /124, by City Council of Nairobi to Messrs. Kimemia Engineering Construction Company Limited for a term of 9 years with effect from 1st of February 1953. The transfer was registered at the Land Titles Registry, Nairobi, as IR number 822769, as evidenced by entry number 94, and we've attached that register. A copy of the lease document is attached. The land has since been converted into parcel number Nairobi block, because this is one of those under the Land Titles Act for conversion under the Land Registration Act as Nairobi block 55/127 in compliance with the law. A copy of the land register and an internal search are marked number 7, annexure number 7. Finally, I want to say, in respect of that parcel, the land is now converted into the number that I have stated, Nairobi block 55/127, and it is private property leased or by way of a lease to Kimemia Engineering Construction Company Limited. I think that could be sufficient for that. And then there is the further question, number 3 of question 1, error number 79/811, again in Makandara constituency, which was designated for the Buruburu Phase 5 community playing ground, according to the question. The response, Honorable Speaker, is that I wish to say that Buruburu Phase 5 sits on Nairobi Block 79 and not LR number 79. Records held in the ministry reflect or show parcel number Nairobi Block 79/811 shows that the said parcel was planned and surveyed as an open ground during the planning and survey of the estate. The land parcel measures 0.0685 hectares per survey plan number FR 159/16. We've put an extra there, the survey plan, an extra 8. Honorable Speaker, my ministry records show that there is no allotment in respect of that parcel, and it therefore remains an open ground for the community or for public use. Finally, allow me, Honorable Speaker, to say that in total, those parcels, that is Nairobi Block 209/4844/124, which is now Block 55/127, and then Nairobi Block 79/811, and 188, the first one that I started with, 82, are vested in the Nairobi City Council government. The county government is responsible for planning, surveying, and allocation of the parcels of land registered in their favor. The role of the ministry is to register land rights upon determination by the county government. In other words, once we receive a lease allotment or allocation, then we proceed to register, but we don't determine who should be allocated. I believe, Honorable Speaker, I have responded to the first question with its 3 components.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Sifuna, supplementary question.
Speaker, my proposal is that the CS should move to part B of the question, then we take the supplementary answers, questions from there. There is a part B there of the same question. What is the ministry doing to safeguard the rights of the legitimate owners of these parcels of land and to address the reported cases of fraudulent claims and encroachment in respect of the said parcels?
I thought I clarified in the last part of page 3 of my response, where I say that the role of the ministry is to register land rights or allocations forwarded by the county government or any other authority or individual owner. And therefore, I believe in respect of the Buruburu parcel, the parcel is for community land use or community use for public use. It's an open ground. The other 2 are actually privately owned. So therefore, if I do not then see what else Honorable Senator requires me to do. I thought the main concern is whether they are still held, how the holding, the property held, do I am able to demonstrate the registered owners. And then the last one is in the name of Nairobi City Council. Basically, it's an open ground, and obviously it can be subject of encroachment. It can be, but as of now, it remains, and our records show that it is an open land. These are the kind of properties that get grabbed, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Yes, Waziri, that was exactly what my concern is. And I was going to request that there is what the ministry knows in the office that this plot in Buruburu Phase 5 is an open ground, but then there is what is on the ground itself. I was going to request, Honorable Speaker, that the CS dispatches officers from her office to go and ascertain whether the position that she has reported here about the piece of land remaining an open land, a play area for the residents, is actually factual on the ground. Because we are looking at her ministry. When we see encroachment there, some of these people move around with pieces of paper purporting to be from the ministry. And I am sure you have anti-fraud measures that you've put in place as a ministry. So the residents are expecting that you come through for them as a ministry to curb what is actually happening on the ground. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, the said ground in Buruburu, is it ground vested on Nairobi City Council, or it's still held by the ministry?
Honorable Speaker, you can see from the response that it is open ground and it is vested in the City County of Nairobi. But that is the reason why we come to the ministry. This CS, we have interacted with her on many properties in Nairobi, including Tomboya Social Hall. And her ministry was very, very instrumental in ensuring that the people of Nairobi get back that property that is leased. Most of these problems, I admit, come from the county government of Nairobi. And we depend fully. Our only hope is actually in the Ministry of Lands, because the county is the originator of the problem. They are the ones who issue these allocations, and we depend on the ministry to set the record straight about the ownership of some of these parcels. I thank you.
To set the record straight, or to assist in making sure that it remains with the City Council of County. Yes, please proceed.
Yes, thank you. I think...
Point of clarification. Yeah, what's your point of clarification?
I just wanted, Speaker,
can we
to
allow
respond to the Honourable Senator in respect of his
what
question.
Clarification are you seeking for? Because it's a question raised by Senator Sifuna. She needs to respond. From Senator Sifuna. Then you will wait and ask your supplementary question.
No, it's not a question. It's a clarification. There are two different
things. Let's allow him. We hear. What is your clarification?
My clarification is in her answer, she says that the role of the ministry is to register land rights upon determination by the county government. So my clarification is that open area, has it been given other land use? Maybe it has been allocated to somebody else. That's why I wanted clarification.
Proceed, Captain Secretary.
Yes, for record purposes, the Hansard can capture that this land remains an open ground. In terms of our records, there is no request for any other transaction to be registered. However, I asked my teams yesterday to give me a ground report, which I don't have yet. I can dispatch that to the Honourable House once I receive it. But it is true, I also requested for the ground report. So that really is the situation. And I don't know whether there is encroachment, but even if there is any encroachment, it will be an irregular encroachment without any title.
Senator Sifuna, do you have another supplementary question? Yes, Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I would like to ask a supplementary question in relation to Dagoretti sub-county. If the minister could clarify that for purposes of affordable housing, that land has been compulsorily acquired from residents who have not been compensated, and although some leases had not been ended, the 100-year, the 99 lease had not ended, that land has still been confiscated from residents of Dagoretti sub-county for purposes of affordable housing. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, in supplementary, because we are discussing on the sanctity of protecting the issuance of rights and even documentation, in Nandi County, Mr. Speaker, there are more than 2,000 squatters that have not accessed land. So, Speaker, I want to ask this question to the Minister of Lands because he's here. 3 weeks ago, Mr. Speaker, and you're aware, 2 of my people were killed in Kimwani area over land dispute. My concern is that there are people who are located that land who are well connected in the Kanu area. Is the minister aware, and what is she doing to ensure that the people do not die? Because we died during colonial era to fight for land. Why is it that my people in Nandi are dying in Kimwani area because of land dispute? What is the strategy of the Ministry of Lands will put in place to ensure each and every Kenyan
is allowed to access or have a place to live with. Mr. Speaker, you are aware, in Africa, if you don't have land, you are nobody. Land is equated to our life. So is the minister aware, and what is she doing to protect the rights of the squatters to access or allocation of land, especially in Kimwani, Mr. Speaker, because we have buried those 2 people and others were injured. And even as we talk, Mr. Speaker, there is ongoing eviction. I thought, Waziri, we were with you on the other side, that we said after Ruai, when people were being moved during Ruai evictions at night during COVID, we refused. Why is it still happening under your watch?
Senator Cherargei, I don't know if I will allow your question, because your supplementary question has to be related to the primary question. You are ambushing the Cabinet Secretary with a question about Nandi when we're talking about issues of Nairobi with this primary question.
But
and
Speaker,
is the land you're referring to?
Is the same. It is under similar circumstances.
Is the land you're referring to belonging to the Nandi county government?
Yeah, it's because all lands are managed through county governments.
So it belongs to Nandi. Why don't you raise the question to the governor?
No. It doesn't belong to county. It is under ADC. It is Kimwani Agricultural Development Corporation.
I will allow that question, but I will give
Chair,
the Cabinet Secretary. I'll give the Cabinet.
She is the Minister of Lands.
I will give the Cabinet Secretary
of the Republic of Kenya. Unless
I will allow the Cabinet Secretary to answer if she has information about it. If not, she will guide us. Let's take the other supplementary question from Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Welcome, CS, to the Senate. My question, CS, is whether you can clarify whether the housing projects that you are undertaking are ensuring that you protect the minimum rights of persons who are evicted in order for housing to be protected, so that they don't end up, for instance, with 150,000 Kenya shillings without a house. What are you doing to ensure that somebody being removed from a house can at least be guaranteed to get into a house, and provided the necessary damages or compensation to facilitate their staying temporarily elsewhere until the houses are ready and they are allocated their house? Otherwise, we are evicting vulnerable people.
Senator Muma, again, I don't know if I'm going to allow your question, because it does not relate to the primary question that was raised by Senator Sifuna. So we'll go to Senator Onyonka. What is your question?
Mr. Speaker, I would like to basically bring up a supplementary question which will be related to this matter, which I believe that the minister is somebody, because I have known her before, and she's somebody who works meticulously, whether she's going to be able to solve the problem. And the problem, Mr. Speaker, is that so many people who had bought properties at Embakasi Ranching Scheme in Nairobi have been unable to achieve the ownership titles for these properties. As a result, you are now having the same issue of encroachment. There were pieces of land, Mr. Speaker, which were left for social amenities like for stadia. Some of the land was for the schools and some for the hospitals. The problem is that all that land has already been grabbed. And I wanted to find out from the CS whether she has actually been able, either by accident or by design, started sorting out the Embakasi ranching problem, just like the one of Athi River. The Athi River one, Mr. Speaker, was actually sorted out, and it was a very, very good strategy that was used. Is it possible, if the minister is aware, that even the issue of the Embakasi ranching scheme could be sorted out the way they did in Athi River? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Cabinet Secretary, you may respond to the question raised by Senator Manzo and Senator Onyonka, and the question raised by Cherargei and Muma. It's on your prerogative whether you will respond or not, but it doesn't touch on the primary question. And also, CS, we don't have much time. We need to go to the next question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think in respect of the question by Senator Cherargei, it is such a critical and important question. I would request that for me to be able to give a substantive and correct answer, you give me time and send the question to me. So I believe that, of course, we are concerned about any deaths, and I regret if there has been any death, but and therefore you need also to assist the families by ensuring that a report is also made to the police, because that now is a criminal aspect of it. While I deal with the land question, maybe that is necessary. But then, of course, quickly, in terms of settlement of people without land, yes, of course, we have a government program under the adjudication and settlement program in my ministry. And that, of course, goes together with the budgeting. When we have enough budget, we consider. I think these people are on ADC land from your own statement, and ADC land is government land, and therefore, if there is any activity to remove them, obviously also we must not train Kenyans. Let me finish the statement. What I'm saying is that
the CS said she will respond in full.
Yes.
At a later date.
Yes, thank you. And I think I should reach there in respect of that response. I think the question of Catherine Muma, I'm dealing with the question on land, and I want to agree with the speaker that we can hold this question later. But in terms of our work on housing, we are not carrying out any evictions. We are not carrying out any evictions, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, I think there is a generalized attitude or maybe perception that the Ministry of Lands, Public Works and Housing is evicting. When we get a site for a project, there is a determination of the people who were living in those places. Most of the land is either the houses belong to the county government, so we work in conjunction with them. If then the house belongs to the national government, because the other land we are using is land belonging to national government, different entities of national government, then it means they are living as, either they are paying to the national government, and the request to move out to another place where they can rent would not then require or give the government responsibility to then pay them. But it is not an eviction. It is an arranged plan where they are given time to organize new residences. There is normally a small disturbance allowance depending on the case-to-case issue. And I think so far, our plan in terms of registering so that some people want to come back there, they are registered, enumeration is done, and they are given preference when the new project is complete. Thank you. I think there is no other question relating. I think in respect of Onyonka, Senator Onyonka, your question on Embakasi, this Embakasi launching, this is one of the biggest challenges my ministry has had, and I believe, of course, the shareholders of the Embakasi have been suffering and going through quite a difficult period. The biggest challenge is posed by the officials of Embakasi launching and other, because we have like two teams of officials who keep on fighting and throwing out each other, taking coups against each other. In that process, we have people who style themselves as officials and they keep on issuing illegal share certificates. But nevertheless, my ministry has a committee that is designated to deal with those issues day to day, working together in conjunction with the Embakasi launching itself. And so far, we have issued 25,000 titles. They have visited me as a company. We have issued 25,000. There is still more land that requires to be titled, and we are working with them. We have facilitated them as much as we can. But it is important that the public knows that there are some crooked people, cartels that sell land that does not exist, and that is not the ministry's headache. So our concern is how we can quickly finalize the titling. I hope that there is no question, Honorable Speaker, that I have left unanswered. I think Senator Maanzo, did I pick your question?
It was issue of national housing.
I thought we had agreed that I answered it when I'm answering the housing, but yes.
Okay. Very well, CS.
Well,
Thank you
because
very
there are questions on housing.
Very well, CS. We'll proceed to the next question, which will be question 99. We're going to skip CS. We're going to skip question 95 because Senator Alexander Mundigi is not in the House and there's nobody he has designated to answer the question. So we go straight to question 99. Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just before I do this, I think there was an agreement that colleagues who have raised questions and have been waiting for a long time for answers from the CS should be given priority when the CS finally appears. So I want to urge my colleagues, please, let us get these answers for our people. You have opportunity to also put those questions to the CS and wait as long as some of us have waited from April to get these answers for our people. So these disruptions by the Senator for Nandi are totally unwelcome, Honorable Speaker. I want to go straight to the question. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide details on the circumstances under which the parcel of land in South Sea, Ward Langata constituency registered as LR number 209/10210 and on which the College of Insurance stands was encroached upon by a private developer who has already excavated and constructed a perimeter fence around that portion of land? B, what steps has the ministry taken to address the situation and to safeguard the rights of the Insurance, Training and Education Trust, who are the legitimate owners of the parcel of land? C, could the Cabinet Secretary explain how the ministry intends to generally address the growing menace of fraudulent acquisition and encroachment of public land by private individuals and developers, especially in the city county of Nairobi? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
The question on insurance College of Insurance, asked by Honorable Senator for Nairobi. Honorable Speaker, this is grant number LR 209/10210 or IR number 66157, which contained an acreage of 2 hectares, more particularly delineated in survey plan number 193902. The grant comprised a leasehold term of 99 years, commencing 1st of March 1982, with an annual rent of 138,000. The grant was first registered on 20th of June 1995 in the name of Insurance Training and Education Trust. The same parcel was also allocated to one Rajab Ahmed Karume. The grant indicates that the parcel contains an acreage of 2 hectares in the name of Rajab Karume as well, and more particularly delineated on survey plan number 278905. The grant comprised a leasehold term of 99 years from 1st of October 1998, with an annual rent of 80,000. As revised, the grant was registered on 6th of July 2011. The ownership of this parcel has been a subject matter of court proceedings and Environment and Land Court, ELC Court, at Milimani, case number 816/2012, declared Rajab Ahmed Karume as the sole and lawful registered proprietor of the parcel. The ELC ordered for cancellation of the initial grant registered in the name of Insurance, Training and Education Trust. The Court of Appeal in Civil Appeal number E505, consolidated with case number E519 of 2020, upheld the position taken by ELC in the High Court, and we put an extra and a bundle of documents, including the decree and an order of the Court of Appeal. And those are the annexures there, 1 to 4, that is the judgment for 14th of June 2024 in the Court of Appeal, decree dated 22nd August 2024. In other words, then therefore, the correspondence file for Rajab Ahmed Karume is in our custody, and we are yet to trace the correspondence file for Insurance, Training and Education Trust. That, of course, speaks to something, but that file, I've tried to look for it, it's not there. Honorable Speaker, in response to part B of the question, the courts and the Court of Appeal have pronounced themselves on this matter and declared ownership of this land in favor of Rajab. The ministry is therefore unable to take further action on the matter. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, my officers have been continuously under threat of being committed to civil jail for sometimes taking time to interrogate some of these records, and especially where a court ruling and judgment has been given. So to that extent, then we are following the court order, and unless advised otherwise. In response to part C of the question, the ministry is undertaking digitization of land records to make them less susceptible or vulnerable to manipulation, thereby guaranteeing their integrity. Once we finish that process of automation, we will be in a better place to deal with questions of integrity and security of documents. We have also fast-tracked titling of institutional titles or public spaces, institutions, and also private institutions. We have continuously cooperated with investigative agencies, EACC, the DCI, and sometimes even NIS, when issues of public property arise and the request for documentation is normally given with easy access. To this end, we have officers from the DCI domiciled in the ministry headquarters, and that has also assisted in terms of making the place a free corruption zone. However, I, as the minister in charge, I would still want to say it is work in progress. So far, Cabinet has approved about close to 35 billion for a first phase of additional funding to do automation, and that has been approved as a process of funding with World Bank support. And I believe we should be possibly managing to go throughout. Of course, the work of automation is not a one-day exercise. It is a program that is running throughout the country, and so far I believe we have done well. Nairobi is at maybe 98%. We've moved to other counties, and with this new funding, we should be able to make better progress. I don't know whether I have lost course. I think I have exhausted Honorable Sifuna's question, but he needs also to still assist me with the Tom Mboya, because there is a court case coming up, and I believe the response by my ministry in response and defense of our position, which has been challenged since my appearance to the Senate, has been well spelled out and written by way of defense and reply in the court. And I believe the case is being handled properly by the Attorney General. But the people of that area should know that that remains public property.
Senator Sifuna, your supplementary question?
Yes, Madam CS, I want to assure you that you have the full support of the people of Nairobi as you fight to recover all these properties that belong to the public that have been illegally acquired. Speaker, my question was going to be to the CS what sort of defense they put up in this particular matter. Because if I remember my land law at the University of Nairobi, the first allocation that is given has some level of superiority over subsequent allocations. So I'm wondering if you have clearly delineated here that this particular parcel, the grant was first registered on 20th June 1995 in the name of the Insurance Training and Education Trust. Then you come here and we see a registration in favor of this private individual in July of 2011. This has appended my entire understanding of land law. I thought a first registration is superior. So I wanted to understand, the Honorable CS, what sort of defense do you actually put up in courts in support of your own records? And how can something like this happen? Because I thought that the courts, once they get from you that the first initial registration, unless they say the first registration is regular, Honorable Speaker, how can it be trumped by a registration that comes over 20 years later? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Sifuna, your question is very wide. You're asking the CS what sort of defense they put up in this case on a matter which has already been pronounced by the courts.
Honorable Speaker, you heard her saying that even in the case involving Tomboya, the ministry is putting up strong defense because their records are what the courts rely on. So my only concern is how was it possible? How was it possible? So she can just give us a brief on the sort of defense they put up, unless, Honorable Speaker, you think that it's not an important question.
No, it's an important question, but I don't know if the CS will be in a capacity to know the defense that was put in place. CS.
Yes, sorry. I'm following, Honorable Speaker, the concerns of the Honorable Senator for Nairobi. And I would want to invite the Honorable Senator to read the judgments from the High Court and also the Court of Appeal. Indeed, we put quite, I believe, the Office of the Attorney General, because definitely the defense and our lawyer is the Attorney General. And looking at what we did, the Commissioner of Land's evidence was actually disregarded and dismissed by the court. And therefore, maybe you could read the judgment. If you think there is anything else we can do, we can engage. But there is now a judgment of the Court of Appeal, and it is not possible for me to move further. It is true that the first registration, I wouldn't call it first registration as such, but there was an initial grant, the first grant, by order of dates. And then this other grant, I am yet to understand the reasoning fully, but the position is the court has pronounced itself, and you don't want the minister to be committed to contempt.
Any other questions, Senator Sifuna? Senator Joe Newt, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very concerned about this double allocation of land that was initially allocated to, I believe, what is currently Kenya College of Insurance, which was later allocated to a private, I want to say a private developer. And of course, I've listened to the CS explaining the measures in her last paragraph that they are taking, including digitization. But my question to the CS, Mr. Speaker, is, do they have, other ministry, any administrative measures that they are taking? And Mr. Speaker, I mean, like even before the DCI and whoever is coming to investigate does their job, that the concerned officer, because of course they are concerned officers, for example, administratively, are made to resign or to step aside, Mr. Speaker, and whether then in that regard the ministry is investing in doing what we can call a moral change in the officers serving under the ministry, because these court processes, Mr. Speaker, can be lengthy, time-consuming, expensive, and sometimes very draining, even emotionally, to those that are making these particular, are making these legal, are seeking legal redress. And so, as a ministry, even before we talk about the law enforcement agencies, do they have any administrative decisions, any moral change programs, and that kind of thing, Mr. Speaker? Thank you.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the issue of double registration, among other malpractices in land management, is real, not just in Nairobi, but all over the country. And I've seen the CS said that they are undertaking digitalization of land records. Mr. Speaker, you know that this matter of digitalization of the records at the land ministry has been talked about for a long time. I think it started during Kibaki regime, then during Uhuru regime, and now during this regime. Do we have timelines and the status of implementation of this digitalization? Because we keep talking about it, but we are not seeing tangible progress. So I would like the CS to tell this House what is the status of digitalization of the Ministry of Lands, and particularly land records, and how long is it going to take, what percentage has been implemented, so that this House can have some concrete information when this exercise is likely to end.
Thank you, Senator Osotsi. I don't know if you were here when the CS said for Nairobi County, it's almost 90% completed. Are you asking now for the timelines for the whole country?
Mr. Speaker, I started by saying the issue of land malpractice is not just Nairobi alone.
This question was touching on Nairobi.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking you, are you asking for the whole country? What is the timeline?
Yes, I'm asking for the whole country.
CS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In response to Senator Osotsi, let me say that maybe by way of repeating myself, that it is true the program of digitization has taken long, but the ministry, having realized that the speed and the funding that we are getting is not sufficient to deliver more timely completion of this program, we did engage the government. And the cabinet, I said, has approved new funding through World Bank and Treasury to enable us move faster. Once I get this funding, I'll be able to respond in terms of how much time that will take. But looking at other jurisdictions, it is a program that to go to the rest of the country where we already have titles. Remember, we are talking about where we have already done titling. The rest, a lot of our land is not yet titled. But looking at the program of where we are in terms of titling and ensuring that the records that are ready in our registries are secure. I have seen other jurisdictions, they take between 5 and 7 years to holistically work on that. So with funding that is coming, and I say it is coming because it has been approved by Treasury and the Cabinet, and therefore I should be in a better position to give a work plan, in the long term. Thank you.
CS, there was the question by Newton, Senator Joe Newton.
I think Senator Joe Newton is asking me to give a moral card or a stick in terms of how are we resourcing maybe my staff, my personnel, to the right course in terms of working without all these issues. I don't think it is a problem of the officers alone. It is a problem of the country, because it takes two to tango. I think that Kenyans must stop corruption and agree to work properly. And I'm not excusing the ministry, but corruption challenges is a national, actually it's a national disaster. And it is not possible for people outside there to just point a finger, because these records belong to the Kenyans. They are the ones also who approach my officers. My officers should, of course, not, because these are officers that are working and earning through the taxpayer. But I'm saying, let us as a country embrace and appreciate that we must stop these practices. I think the ministry's position is that once we secure the records properly, even ownership in terms of the owner, the holders of these records, will be able to get information real time so that they can know somebody is trying to access their records. And that is the beauty of digitization, the ADISASA system, under the National Land Information Management System. We are not in a good place. We need to sort out that mess. Nairobi is at 98. We are in Murang'a. We are working on that, Senator. Maybe you should give me a clap for that. And then we are in Isiolo. We are in Mombasa. We are going to Machakos. We have targeted in the next 1 year, we will be in at least about 20 or so counties. But I believe the funding is already available. We'll move faster, and I may have an opportunity to come back here to give Parliament at least a better answer in terms of where we are and how we are going to complete the remaining work.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Let us proceed to the next question. Question 118 by Senator Joe Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is a question on the status of ownership of Kimorori grounds in Keno, Marawa constituency in Murang'a County, Mr. Speaker. And question number A is, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the details of the parcel of land commonly referred to as Kimorori grounds in Keno, Marawa constituency, including the title number, a date of registration, and the registered proprietor, and if the land is registered in the name of either the national or county government, state under what a legal instrument or gazette notice it is so held. Number B, Mr. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary also clarify whether the said land is free of any encumbrances, mortgages, caveats, or pending litigation? And finally, Mr. Speaker, what measures has the ministry put in place to safeguard the public interest and continued community use of Kimorori grounds, given its historical role as a communal space? I thank you.
Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, in response to the Senator for Murang'a County, Senator Joe Nyoto, regarding the ground commonly known as Kimorori, Honorable Speaker, this is the response that I have. According to our records, the land in question was initially set out as plot number A for district headquarters and Kimorori Primary School, as shown in the, I have attached, Honorable Speaker, a lot of documents for Honorable Senator and the Senate. I have attached the PDP, I have attached the searches, the current search for this land. I have also given other information that is useful. This land belonged initially to Ngimu Farmers Company Society Limited, Ngimu's Farmers Society Limited. When they were doing this, the subdivision scheme, they did give or set aside land for public use. And in that, then the headquarters and Kimorori Primary School are shown in the PDP that I have attached, reference number C1851/0601, approved on 24th of September 2007, and I have put the PDP there as annexure number 10. Plot number A was surveyed as Makuyu/Kimorori/ in block 1/807, measuring 2.37 hectares, and Makoyo Kimorori block 1/1806, measuring 3.28 hectares, respectively. In the same PDP, Kimorori Primary School was relocated away from the initial plot A to plot number B, which was later surveyed as Makuyu/Kimorori block 1/1607, measuring 1.62 hectares, and an additional land was given as Makoyo block 1/1635. The record or the green card copies are there for those parcels. Then block 1/807, measuring 2.37, and Makoyo block 1, Kimorori, the block 1/1806, measuring 3.26, were amalgamated on 23rd of September 2024 to form Makoyo/Kimorori block 1/5613, which approximately measures 5.38 hectares of land. And that is basically, if you multiply that by the conversion of 2.47, I think the land is about 13 acres or thereabout. On 13th March 2025, Makoyo Kimorori block 1/5613 was further subdivided into two portions, that is block 1/5615, measuring 4.8943 hectares, and Makoyo Kimorori block 1/5616, measuring 0.48564, and then 5615 was set aside for Maragua district headquarters, and therefore what we are saying is Makoyo Kimorori block 1/5615 was set aside for Maragua district headquarters, and then Makoyo Kimorori block 1/5616 was set aside for the low courts. That's about 1 acre, the construction of the low courts. The two parcels belong to the government of the Republic of Kenya, the national government. And therefore, that is where the so-called or the commonly used ground by the youth and other residents of that area is contained in that parcel. What happened is that the use by the youth and other people initially was because the land was being used by the school. There was a sports ground or a field set aside for school children. So when the school was moved, then the issue of a playground, in a way, in terms of, because the ground and the field was for the national government for construction of district headquarters, became, I think, a question that is generally subjected to discussion. For us to be able to call this a ground, Honorable Speaker, maybe I should first complete before I maybe say what I think should be done. On 26th of May, a restriction was registered against the two parcels of land by myself, Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, against any dealings on the said two parcels of land pursuant to a memorandum that I issued on 15th of May. And this was because the whole area is being surveyed, And I felt that maybe we could have a risk in terms of disposing the land before we determine ownership. Just for purposes of securing the land, I want to confirm that I have put a caveat on all the land belonging to GIMU because it has been subjected to, there has been a lot of fraudulent dealings. On 3rd of September 2024, parcels number 1607 and 1635 were amalgamated to create Kimorori Block 1/5614. On 26th of May, a restriction against that again was put by the Cabinet Secretary. So all those parcels, as I have said, have a restriction. So in terms of securing them, they are secure, there is no danger. And then I have put annexures there. So in short, to answer the question by the Honorable Senator is whether this land is available for a sports ground. And I know that a lot of politics and a lot of push and shove has taken place on this issue because the youth do not have any alternative ground where they can actually play their games and their sports. And because of long-term use, they do not understand why there is some other arrangement in terms of using of that land. The judiciary parcel one, that one is separate. The sports ground is contained in the district headquarters ground, and it is not in any danger. Therefore, it is a matter of maybe replanning and see whether the sports ground can be accommodated in that particular parcel. Because as I've said, we do have Honorable Speaker, there have been demonstrations there, and I appreciate the concerns of the youth, but they need to understand it was not a parcel under the Ministry of Sports, neither was it really reserved as a sports ground. But because it is a property belonging to the government of Kenya, it is possible that we can sit down and do planning, maybe replanning, and see whether we can accommodate the uses that are required or needed. Maybe that is what I can say.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator John, you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the CS for the very comprehensive response to this particular question. But Mr. Speaker, just to maybe bring her to speed further, is that the concern has been about this particular arrangement that was done on the 13th of March, this year actually, where the two plots, one was set aside for Marago District Headquarters and the other one for Keno Law Courts. The problem has been that there was no public participation, or so the residents say. So I don't know whether, according to the CS, that this was done lawfully and procedurally as per the requirements by the Ministry of Lands. But then, Mr. Speaker, as she clarifies that, she has ended by saying that this is a matter that can be resolved to accommodate the play field. So in that particular regard, Mr. Speaker, I would want to ask the CS maybe to give us some timelines for that. And because she comes from Murang'a and she knows the heat that this has generated, I think it would be good for us and for the people of Murang'a, and especially those of Keno, to know exactly when this particular process that the CS has suggested, and which I welcome, Mr. Speaker, would be completed so that a replanning is done to accommodate the play field. And Mr. Speaker, finally, there is something that they call in law and land matters adverse possession. And the CS, I want to thank her, she's not opposed to that, that because the youth have been playing in that particular field, social events have been held there, and there is no other field. And because there is more space in the district headquarters land, whether then in the planning, it is possible to have the law courts maybe put aside somewhere else in that accommodated in other parts of land, and this left for that. the people of Muranga, the people of Keno, would be very happy today to hear what their daughter, the CS for Lands, has promised as to when she is going to deliver that field, that play field, to the people of Keno. So, Mr. Speaker, a matter of timelines and whether finally these youths will have that parcel of land. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. And Senator, you've asked almost 3 questions, so I think that covers all your supplementary questions.
It's because the CS comes from the same county, and I know she's also concerned about that particular field.
Thank you,
And
Senator.
by the way, she's my political mentor. I have a lot of respect for her.
That is good. Thank you. Cabinet Secretary.
Honorable Speaker, I don't know what to say, but I know that I have been one of those people accused by several people around there, and I think some of them are friends of the Honorable Senator, that we have an intention of grabbing. Let me first assure the people of Muranga and Kenyans that this land is already has a title. I had put a caveat. I have put a caveat on all parcels that emanate from the main block, the entire Gimbu land. So there is nobody grabbing. The other person who has been accused, I think politics have been quite propelled there, is the Member of Parliament for Maragua. It is not possible because this land is registered in the name of the government of Kenya, and I think that it is important that I clarify that the land is safe and secure, and it is not possible to grab the land because it is also restricted by an order of the minister. 3, the Honorable Senator is throwing a bait to me, Honorable Speaker, that I give a timeline. You know, he has also accused area activities of not being subjected to public participation. So I would want to say that it is not possible for me to give a timeline, and it is a matter that requires discussion with my colleague, the Minister for Interior, because the land right now is registered in the name of national government, and again, we would also need to do public participation, if at all there will be those activities. And so far, I think the youth are continuing to use the land. The judiciary is part of the national government. I said the land was set aside for national government. So it is not that it is a new use that was given. It is simply that most of the times when you are doing a project, you need a title for the specific agency. So the judiciary has been given 1 acre, and I don't think that matter required any public participation. The people of Keno, this specific area, already have law courts there, but these are mute issues that can be still discussed further. We have land in Makuyu, which we could still look and see whether some of the facilities can be taken there. And I think the important thing is to say that we will work on the issue. And I must say that there was an attempt to drag me into the problem, into the dispute, and really it's not a land question issue. It was a land use issue of who is using the land. But I think for now, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Maragua has, I think, maybe stepped down her push, and I think also the youth have now also maybe used better ways of engaging, and it is possible that Honorable Senator can tell them in due course. But I will pick up the issue and see whether the national government can carve out sufficient land for a playground, which then means it would have to be transferred to the Ministry of Sports. It's not county land. I think the other question is you wanted to know whether it is national or county land. This is national government land. Thank you.
Senator Sifuna, you have a supplementary question?
Yes, Waziri, on this very critical point of public participation that has been raised by the Senator Nyutu, you are aware, Governor, CS, of an ongoing housing program at Makongeni. And the residents of Makongeni have asked me to ask you, when will you sit down with them to be able to take them through that public participation for that project. They are facing eviction as we speak. There have been protests there. They say nobody in the ministry is listening to them. Is it not possible, Waziri, for you to honor those people by just having a sit down with them to iron out the things that have not been clarified so that the project can proceed? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Manzo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the issue of public participation, I still want to go back to Dagoretti sub-county. Is the CS planning to do public participation with those people whose land is being acquired compulsorily for affordable housing? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Osotsi.
No, Mr. Speaker, mine is just a point of order on Standing Order 105. 105. Very important.
You didn't press the intervention button. I thought you were asking a supplementary question.
I did.
Point of order against who?
The CS has made an allegation.
CS is not on the floor at the moment.
No, but this is a House of Record, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed.
Just to get things clear. Yeah, the CS has made an allegation that
Osotsi, are you seeking clarification from the CS? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the clarification on the fact that Senator Newton, who is the person asking the question in this case, his friends are the ones who've been making allegations that the CS is involved in this grabbing. For the purpose of our records, as a House of Records, I think it will be important, Mr. Speaker, for the CS to give clarification and name those friends of Senator Newton who have been claiming that the CS is involved in the grabbing. I think that will be important for our records, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary, let's take one more supplementary, then you can answer all of them. Senator Onyonka, you have a supplementary? Oh, sorry. Cabinet Secretary, you can proceed. And on the matter of the clarification, yes, if you don't feel like naming the names, you could always just withdraw the friends of Senator Newton.
Honorable Speaker, I said that I am one of those people who has been accused. And allegations, it is true, were made that we were having a project there for housing. Let me say that we have no housing project in this particular land because it's actually very limited for purposes of a district headquarters. So we are not doing affordable housing there. They know, people of Muranga, including my senator, they know that we are doing that in MATIANG'I. Number two, there was an allegation that the land is being grabbed. I have made a clarification that there is no land that is being grabbed by any person. Let's just say by any person. And it is secure because I have also restricted that land to allow time for some of the resurvey that is going on. Finally, I think Senator Maanzo is, maybe I could finish with the issue of allegations of Joe Newton's friends. Joe Newton is actually my friend, and you heard him say that I'm his mentor. At least it's good to confess we've come a long way, notwithstanding his different political trajectory that he's taking. We are now maybe looking at different directions, but let me not mention any more names because I don't want to be in trouble on the floor of this House, and withdraw that particular comment. Finally, on the part of Honorable Senator Maanzo, Honorable Maanzo is worried about public participation in Dagoretti South, where we have projects. Let me first also say, there is no project that we do without public participation. It is possible that it could be argued, was it sufficient or not sufficient, but we do thorough public participation, starting with the persons being affected by the project, that is the PAPs. Those are our first priorities. Of course, the neighbors also are entitled to public participation, and therefore I want to confirm if Senator Manzo, there is an indication that we have not done sufficient public participation, we will go further and do more public participation. I'm also, Honorable Speaker, being invited by the Senator for Nairobi to honor the people of Makongeni. I believe here, this is one of the places we have done a lot of public participation. But it appears that there is still need, because I know it's a huge project, and there are many people being affected. There is still need to engage them further. We will do that, Honorable Senator. Maybe we can do that in January, or if my department, the State Department is able to do in December, we can do that, but we could slot it for January.
Yes, Senator Sifuna.
Speaker, I really appreciate that offer from the CS. Maybe she could be kind enough now to direct her ministry that the threatened evictions be put on hold until we have that conversation, because CS, you'll agree with me, it will be pointless to discuss the matter in January when all these people have already been kicked out. Kindly.
Is the eviction an order from the court or from the ministry?
No, because the current residents needed to give way for the project. They had already been given those notices to leave.
I think projects are ongoing along that place, and therefore I may not be able to withdraw or to ask my department to withdraw. It is important that I take consultation. I believe that we have, previously we have extended the notice. In fact, I think they have been on notice the whole of this year, but we will engage them as soon as possible so that we can see how we can intervene. Maybe what we can do is to expedite the public participation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary. I think we have come to the end of question and answers. And at this point in time, we would give you permission to leave. And we want to thank you for answering all the questions comprehensively and for attending the session this morning. Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Clerk, next order.
Order number 8, motion, report of the consultative meeting of the Executive Committee of the Forum of Parliaments of the Member States of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region, FPICGLR, held in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo, from 22nd to 24th January 2025.
Senator Hezena.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I beg to move that the Senate notes the report of the consultative meeting of the Executive Committee of the Forum of Parliaments of the Member States of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region, that is FPICGLR, which was held in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo from the 22nd to the 24th of January 2025, and laid on the table of the Senate on the Tuesday of the 23rd September 2025. Mr. Speaker, the International Conference on Great Lakes Region is an intergovernmental organization of the countries in the Great Lakes region, and it's comprised of the 12 countries, which are namely all the East African countries. We have Angola, we have the Central African Republic, we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then we have the Republic of Congo, we have Zambia, we have the Republic of South Sudan, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi, and Angola. Mr. Speaker, and the forum of the FPICGLR has the following divisions. We have 5 divisions which include the peace and security, democracy and good governance, economic development and regional integration, humanitarian, social and environmental issues, Gender, Women and Children Division, which I proudly serve at. And it is also imperative to note that Kenya secured the chairmanship of 2 committees, which is Democracy and Good Governance and the Economic Development and Regional Integration. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of ICGLR is based on the recognition that political instability and conflicts in these regions or rather countries have a considerable and regional dimension and thus require concerted efforts to promote sustainable peace and development. Mr. Speaker, also the forum, the FPICGLR was established on December 4th in 2008 in Kigali, the Republic of Rwanda, with the objective of promoting, maintaining and strengthening peace and unity and security within the Great Lakes region, and also in maintaining, in accordance with the will of the heads of state and heads of government as expressed in the Pact on Security, Stability and Development in the Great Lakes region, which was signed on December 15, 2006 in Nairobi, Kenya. Mr. Speaker, this regional legislative entity aims to play a role in the implementation of the mandate of the International Conference on Great Lakes region, and Article 2 of the revised Interparliamentary Accord, and it has the following committees, which I had mentioned earlier as divisions. Mr. Speaker, we also have organs within the ICGLR, which are 1, the plenary assembly, secondly, the executive committee, third, the committees, and last but not least, the general secretariat. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Article 7.1 of the founding documents of FPICGLR, it mandates the executive committee to be responsible for the coordination of the forum's activities and functioning of the forum under the supervision of the Bureau of the Plenary Assembly. Mr. Speaker, the last executive committee meeting was convened pursuant to the article, to the 5th recommendation of the final communique adopted following the 29th ordinary session of the executive committee of the Forum of Parliaments for members of the member states of the International Conference on Great Lakes region, which was held on the 5th to 6th of 2024 in Luanda, Republic of Angola. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and the consultative meeting which was held on the 20th to 25th of January in Kinshasa, Congo, the Kenyan delegation, which was represented by me and accompanied by Mr. Polycarp Matara, who is a clerk assistant. And the purpose of the mission was to verify and close all pending administrative issues before launching the recruitment process of the next Secretary General of the organization. Mr. Speaker, the agenda of that meeting was as follows. 1, the recruitment of the next Secretary General in light of the decision of the Bureau of the Plenary Assembly, the legal proceedings regarding the appointment of the Secretary General of the IFP-ICGLR, and to update and adopt the proposed roadmap for the recruitment of the Secretary General. Mr. Speaker, some administrative issues and way forward included presentation of the administrative situation of the staff of the General Secretariat. We had proposed amendments of the founding documents and as well as the management guidelines for the FPICGLR. We also had proposed organizational structure for the FPICGLR, consideration and adoption of the final communique. And Mr. Speaker, it was at this meeting that it was made public that it was time for us to elect the next Secretary General, which was so done. And therefore, the whole procedure was followed, sending out an advertisement And then the various member state parliaments were notified that of the vacancy. And then there was recommended candidates from member parliaments, which were presented on the 15th ordinary session of the Conference of Speakers in Luanda, the Republic of Angola, for endorsement. And then on the 15th ordinary session of the plenary assembly of the ICGLR, a new Secretary General of the organization was officially appointed by the Conference of Speakers. And then, Mr. Speaker, proposals forwarded to for the consideration of the staff of the Secretariat included the following. One, the Secretariat proposed to member parliaments to provide the forum with staff to support the Secretariat. Secondly, it was proposed that there was a need to organize meetings between the Secretary General and managers by setting up a management committee to avoid unilateral decision making by the Secretary General. Third, the committee was informed that the two program managers do not have assistants, which was why consultants were frequently hired to facilitate communication between the chairperson of committees with their respective program managers, especially during the development and implementation stages of the programs. And it was also noted that there was a huge gap in terms of benefits between international recruited staff and locally recruited staff, which also included the relation between what they were getting paid and their location, or rather places where they lived. And also there was a need to reduce the wage differential and the gap and other benefits between international and local staff, since this was noted to be a source of frustration and demotivation among the staff at ICGLR. Last but not least, a one-year contract given to the local staff does not give them stability. Employment contracts should be open-ended for positions where the holder is expected to perform duties that are permanent in accordance with the international standards. Mr. Speaker, there was also consideration and adoption of the final communique, which was considered and deliberated on the items of the agenda of the consultative meeting, and the following final communique was adopted. One, the executive committee, which verified and closed all outstanding administrative issues and officially launched the recruitment process of the next Secretary General of the FPSGLR. It was also approved that the roadmap for the recruitment process of the next Secretary General of ICGLR, it was endorsed. The recruitment process was endorsed, and it will be held in utmost compliance with the final declaration of the 14th ordinary session of the plenary assembly and the relevant positions of founding documents. And as per the 7th point which I made of the final declaration of the ordinary assembly of the plenary assembly of ICGLR, instructed the General Secretariat was to request all eligible member parliaments to represent candidates like I earlier stated, and then they were further instructed to ensure that the amended versions of the FPICGLR founding documents and management guidelines are signed by member parliaments and endorsed with FPICGLR seal and approval. And they also developed and secure a box file for each MP where all official signed founding and corporate documents should be kept under lock and key at the head office in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo. They also examined the proposals to improve the administrative situation of the staff of the General Secretariat of the Forum, as well as the amendments to the founding documents and management guidelines of the FPICGLR to be submitted to the plenary assembly for adoption. It also constituted an ad hoc working group comprising of the ex-co-president, that is the Right Honorable Moses Frank Moyo, that is the Deputy Speaker of the Parliament of Zambia, and Honorable Suzanne Augusta de Mello from the Republic of Angola, and Honorable Morgan Sitwala from the Republic of Zambia, Honorable Geoffrey Ekanya from the Republic of Uganda, and Honorable Boniface Kabanda Matanda from the Democratic Republic of Congo to examine the proposals from the General Secretariat before they were presented and adopted at the 15th Ordinary Session of the Plenary Assembly to be held in Luanda, the Republic of Angola. Among the recommendations, Mr. Speaker, was that the Republic of Uganda should host the 16th Ordinary Session of the Plenary Assembly for the FPICGLR in 2026. And we also commended the General Secretariat for organizing the consultative meeting, and we expressed our sincere gratitude for the government, Parliament, and people of the Democratic Republic of Congo for warm welcome and hospitality extended to the delegates, which also favored, which created favorable conditions for us holding consultative meetings of the forum. Mr. Speaker, I move and request Honorable Hamida Kimbwana to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this issue, in fact, it's very, should I say, dear to me. Mr. Speaker, I was in DRC Congo and nominated by former President Uhuru Kenyatta and the late Honorable Raila Odinga to support the country for the formation of the first government of President Tshisekedi. And I feel sad looking at these countries and seeing, you know, what they are going through, and especially the instability or political instability of the country. Mr. Speaker, our countries, the African countries are quite rich. But then looking at the instability, and I don't know whether they are intentional, we find that politically, having the instability, I mean, looking at a country like DRC, it's the richest country in the world, yet very poor. And I feel very sad that these conflicts are dwelling. So I think this, I'm certain that this conference or meeting was for a great purpose to bring the countries together. Look at Sudan. Look at now South Sudan, Mr. Speaker. It is unfortunate that we are not achieving, and especially like Sudan, it feels very sad when you look at an African country going through in this era what they are going through. Mr. Speaker, I am hoping that the purpose of that conference will be achieved, if not achieved, and I'm hoping that the promise of tomorrow will go to pass to African countries. Mr. Speaker, I second.
Honourable Senators, I propose the question that the Senate notes the report of the consultative meeting of the Executive Committee of the Forum of Parliaments of the Member States of the International Conference on the Great Lakes region held in Kinshasa, Democratic Republic of Congo from 22nd to 24th January 2025, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 23rd September 2025. Since there are no senators wishing to contribute, I call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank my colleague Senator Amida for her very well thought of secondment and input, and I'm glad that she has an experience with the amount of tragedy that this country is going through, all because of conflict and poor political decisions. Mr. Speaker, we have had an honor to visit the western part of Uganda, which holds one of the largest refugee camps within the region. And Uganda has a very, very friendly policy that welcomes refugees from across all other Great Lakes region. The most interesting part is that they even allow the refugees to to own businesses, to take part in various kinds of investments within the country, to go to school, except the only right they do not have is to vote, which is understood. Mr. Speaker, we also noted I sit in the committee in the division of women, children, and gender, and it is very disheartening to note that women and children have been at the receiving end of conflict across this world, and most especially within the Great Lakes region. The conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo has displaced millions of women and children, and I want to convey my profound gratitude to the Republic of Uganda for ensuring that they have a safe haven. Mr. Speaker, it's also important to note that the geopolitics and geopolitical decisions, especially those made by powerful nations like the United States, will greatly impact the refugees in these refugee camps, because, Mr. Speaker, we know that a lot of funding will be cut short. So I think it's about time now we start thinking as individual African countries, and especially those countries within the Great Lakes region, what is it that we can do to suffice what this donor fund was contributing to? Because I know that if funding will be cut from the United States, our women and children within the Nakivale refugee camp in the western part of Uganda will suffer a great deal. When we were there the last time, Mr. Speaker, with the committee, I remember women and young children, toddlers, were chasing us, telling us that the only thing they want was education. Some of them have been through tragic traumas. The women there were telling us stories of how they witnessed 7 of their family members being slaughtered and raped, and some of them are really, really traumatized. I think this is the best time for us as African nations to really think about our independence, collaboration, and how we can come together to assist. And that is why within the Committee of Women, Children, and Gender, we decided that we will look for ways as a committee, which is comprised of majority of women from within the Great Lakes member parliaments. We decided that we are going to come up with ways that we can assist these women, even in ensuring that they have schools, having a conversation with the various countries that host these refugee camps to make sure that they have at least schools, they can get basic needs like sanitary pads. I am glad as far as health is concerned, we have doctors who frequently visit them. The Red Cross has played a very important role in also ensuring that they provide medical services to these women and children. And I'm glad that there is a lot of passion being expressed by all members of this committee. And with those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I rise pursuant to Standing Order 66.3. And I request that the putting of the question be deferred to a later date.
Thank you, Senator. And the putting of the question will be deferred to a later date. Honorable Senators, it is now 1 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until later today, Wednesday, 19th November 2025 at 2:30 p.m.